Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Holeko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we are continuing our catch-up with the series Veronica Mars with the accompanying podcast Veronica Mars Investigations. But first, our other new show, which is actually new to everyone, Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. This week's episode is Zoey's Extraordinary Neighbor, although we actually got 2 neighbors, but we assume that Mo is the extraordinary neighbor of the title. But what did you think of this episode?
This one had a lot of songs. Not very much dancing, but it did have... I felt like more musical numbers than we've gotten
and it
so
had
far.
both, imaginary musical numbers and real-life musical numbers. At least one real-life musical number. So
right,
that was different.
And you mentioned about how there were 2 neighbors, and so I thought it was sort of...
2 for the price of 1.
I thought it was going to be sort of a misdirect of...
I did at first, too.
The not Mo neighbor, Bonnie, being the main focus... Mm-hmm. Instead of Mo, which you originally thought were made to believe was the main one.
But Mo was indeed the main one. So
Yes.
NBC, all about the religion lately. Between this and The Good Place, I feel like
there
lots of religious philosophizing on the Peacock.
Mm-hmm. In the shortest of, how much can we get? I mean, not so much on The Good Place, obviously, but on this one, it was let's run through, all of Judeo-Christian values in, 2 minutes.
A little shorthand.
With Pastor Steve.
Right.
Who was quite lovely, but,
Yeah.
It's okay, wow, we're covering a lot here. Okay.
Yeah. Well, certainly fine. But, it was I always think it was more entertaining than last week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the sense of this becoming sort of overwhelming for Zoey because she's just hearing stuff right and left now and feeling like she has to make a difference for every person. And pretty soon it's going to get a little impossible, if not already. So,
right. And also what you had mentioned a week or 2 ago, what makes her qualified to do this?
Yeah.
And I think Mo kind of called her out on that on this one. Back off, you're kind of...
And it's she's hearing these things, but she doesn't necessarily have people's permission to be in their head.
Right.
And she's getting around that by not letting them know, which is going to backfire eventually.
Right. And since Mo already knew, there was no way to not.
Yeah. So I do kind of like the plot twist of it getting more and more difficult, and it's not just going to be one thing. She's hearing one person each week. Now she's starting to hear the thing with her boss is still not really resolved, and the thing with her best friend is still not really resolved, and one neighbor maybe is resolved for the moment, but the other neighbor is still going to require some tending from her.
Right.
So, and the things with her parents are still going on, so it's getting to be a lot.
Yeah.
And what we've traded for that plot development is dancing, apparently.
Right. Yeah. There
I
was
miss the dancing.
Lots of singing, not so much dancing this time.
Yeah. I was happy that Skylar Astin got a little number this time. I missed that last week. Mm-hmm. But he did sing opera adorably, but it was still opera. So.
But was it me or did they make him sound like he was an old-timey staticky recording?
I don't know. I did not notice that.
He looked like he was lip syncing.
Oh, could be.
And I don't know.
Could be.
Weirdly staticky.
Yes. I did not notice that. But,
we were just happy to hear his voice.
Yes. And to see him, emoting in that way. Not just being another one of the coworkers.
Right.
So, Lauren Graham, God bless her. She's completely game, still not convinced that giving her a lot of musical numbers is the way to go. But you gotta respect her for going for it. So, no strike against her. Just another one. Okay.
Okay.
I did enjoy her coming in like a wrecking ball to everything as she walked through. That was fun. The sight gag of that was fun.
Yeah.
Zoe's brother, I really don't care. He was, it's interesting because they were making him at the beginning, he was really a jerk, and now he's softening.
Mm-hmm.
And the people at work who were really jerky to her, we're really not hearing from them last episode we did, but they seem to have stopped. Just hearing her journal apparently softened them enough that they're not being jerky towards her, so.
Well, and she's sort of proving herself with, like when they had the whole crisis with the watch and she figured it out and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I hope that she's hearing more production numbers next week.
Yes.
Certainly Bonnie can be imagining what it would be like out in the world and have a big singing and dancing thing with all of San Francisco and then go back into her room.
Or she could be, on the beach doing a whole production number there, couldn't she?
Yeah, get some tropical song instead of just hearing it through the door. We see the whole range of Bonnie's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Please. I miss the dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was also no dancing on Veronica Mars, although there was a dance.
Yes.
But we never actually got to the dance. The first time, there was no effort to go to the dance. The second time, Veronica just had to stop off and skinny dip, which, as they mentioned on Veronica Mars Investigations, just, sweetheart, there is no way that is going to be a good idea. It's like, assuming you don't get arrested, that dress is never going back on your wet body. Have you thought this through?
And the hair, her hair was all done. I thought,
I'm completely fine. I'm completely fine with that hairdo going away.
But I thought she was going to just keep her hair dry.
My mother, all through my childhood, would swim without getting her hair wet.
Oh, yeah.
She would doggy paddle with her head, her expensively, coiffed and hairsprayed head, well out of the water. She could have done the Ruth Evans dog paddle, but no. She went for it. More than the hair, I just tried this red satin dress that she was kind of poured into. You don't even have a towel. How is this going to work?
Right. And
sweetie, on the way back from the dance is when you go skinny dipping. Yes, you don't go on the way. Aww. That seemed poorly thought out. It was interesting in this episode with so many flashbacks.
Yeah.
And also with Veronica going on dates. Happy Veronica makes me very nervous. Just, she seemed so different in the flashbacks, as they were mentioning on the podcast. Where did she get all these tough girl detective skills? Because, alive Lilly Veronica seems like just a little pussycat.
Well, she's kind of a shrinking violet compared to Lilly, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So we're used to the tough Veronica, and then when she's dating Troy, every time she smiles that huge smile, I think, oh honey, somebody's going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. It makes me afraid for her. Go back to being tough and unhappy. Well, maybe just tough. You can be happy.
Stick with Wallace. He's so sweet. He'll never hurt you.
That's right. Yeah, so it makes me nervous when she's either happily dating or happy in flashbacks. Those flashbacks were all pretty painful in varying ways, but you go, Amanda Seyfried. Keep getting that work in there, you dead girl, you.
That's right.
And really painting quite the picture of her as not the girl that her mother was talking about. at the memorial service in any way at all. It's like she had to die to be the daughter her mother wanted, which is messed up.
Yeah. And then the case of the week, once again, it takes me a lot longer than it takes Veronica to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, I did not much care for this one. And I also, didn't they establish that these guys had taken revenge on somebody who had done something to them? And we're all out in the open here. Do they not think that these guys are going to come back and do something to them for this?
Yeah.
I was worried and scared for them all through this thing, unless it comes back another episode, which I hope it doesn't, because those two losers I want to see no more of.
Yeah, no thanks.
But aren't they going to go in the computer and completely, empty their bank accounts and get them in trouble at school and, put them on bad lists in different places and sell their stuff on the dark web? It's like they set these guys up as these scary things, and they seemed to be, in the end, really not very scary at all.
Right. Well, they made them into doofuses who had to pick through the trash to get to their backup drives.
Right. So I gotta think, in the world that has been established here, they would come back at them with something, but I certainly hope not.
Right.
So the backstory part was more interesting, but still, lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm. And very little Keith Mars in this one.
Although he was adorable in the parts that he was,
Yes, when he was playing the FBI agent or whoever he was.
And also when he was playing Dad, talking to Veronica.
You won't mind that I canceled your reservation at the Four Seasons.
And Troy is like, I am overmatched here.
Right.
Not expecting that.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, I don't know where this is going, and this may be just completely wrong, but when they were playing Truth and Dare and Lilly said, I have never not had sex, is that supposed to be suggesting to us that perhaps her dad was abusing her when she was young?
Well, I thought that Logan also drank or, indicated as part of the game that he had. So,
yeah.
So therefore it could have been the two of them.
I guess. It was like sort of the never not that made me think young.
Yeah.
And also the fact that
negative situation.
Her dad was looking super squicky when all the pictures of little girl Lilly were on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that we know he killed her, even though we're pretty sure Keith Mars was right. So I'm looking for weird things.
Right.
But then he got all, happy and teary when she was teenage Lilly. So I don't know what the deal is. So
right.
I don't know. And then why do we think Weevil is crying? Is there a story
because
there?
he's a bad guy with a heart of gold.
That's right. But does he, I guess we assume that he knew her or something?
To me, it was that Lilly was the kind of person that, everybody was friends with, or everyone sort of liked or thought was fun, or that's what it said to me.
Okay.
I don't know. I could
If I went to high school with Lilly, I would have not thought she was fun. I would have thought she was scary.
Right.
But sure.
But if you were Weevil.
I guess so. I guess if I were a motorcycle guy.
If you were a PCH.
You go, rich white girl. You're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
You look like you're heading for getting your head bashed in by the pool.
Right.
Just not subtle the degree to which she is a, hot fire burning for a short period of time.
Yeah, exactly.
She is asking for trouble. And they seem to be de-psychopathing Logan quite a bit in this episode. He was, because he didn't seem terrible in the flashbacks. He seemed just...
And then he made the video.
He made the video.
Lilly.
And he shot Veronica a meaningful look, of gratitude during it. So he was not as awful as he has been. So,
he appreciated Veronica's contribution to his his short film.
Exactly. And even though you know what's coming, it was very satisfying when the video took that turn into, real Lilly.
Into horrifying her mother.
Yes, into not mother-approved video.
Yeah.
I didn't really like this episode as much as the others, but there are parts of it that were kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if things pick up next week.
That's right.
The episode next week is called You Think You Know Somebody, which sounds like it's going to be on the backstory line. Maybe not. Maybe Troy is going to show some true colors. We'll see. But it's the 5th episode of Veronica Mars, and we will also be watching the 5th episode of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, which is called Zoey's Extraordinary Failure. Oh dear.
Uh-oh, Zoey.
What could that be?
What have you done?
That does not sound like a fun time. Doesn't sound like the occasion for a giant production number. But we shall see. At any rate, it's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.